Morning. It's Saturday, July 2nd. And once again, I find myself in a position to comment on the ineptitude of those currently trained in my former profession. Nowadays, I don't know what they call us. In those days, we were simply programmers or systems analysts, but now they probably call them software engineers or something with a little bit of flavor. So it sounds like these guys are brilliant. Well, there's no real brilliance in this profession. This is a profession of detail. One must pay attention to what one is doing. And there are no shortcuts. Elegant code is the thing that we all strive for. Getting the job done with the fewest set of instructions was often what we wanted. But it wasn't always the best way to do something. Sometimes the long way round was better. And testing was critical. Because in testing, you discover things that you didn't expect to encounter. Now, why am I making this statement today? I'm talking about the botched mayoral counting system for the ranked choice voting. The first count was announced on Tuesday, and it was wrong. And Eric Adams, who was leading in it, said the numbers are way off. And he was right, because 135,000 test names were included in the count of the real votes. This type of mistake is so amateurish, so unbelievably stupid, that the person who had that task of putting these files together shouldn't be working anymore. And the other thing is, test files are exactly what they are, test files. They are created and produced to ensure the accuracy of the real data when it's processed. Nobody in their right mind in this profession would ever have a test file included in the regular data. Now, I don't know how they set the test file up, because I don't believe that it was a separate file. What I think they did is they had a test file, and they just added the names to that test file. They weren't even thinking. Not a big job. This was not a big job. This had 790,000 names that they were dealing with. And a couple of them, 120-something thousand names yet to deal with in the mail-in balance. When I was working on files like this, I processed millions. I worked with companies that had 20 million records on their file. And we never screwed up like this. Yes, you make mistakes. Mistakes are acceptable because you deal with data that can be inconsistent. And you probably haven't figured out every single variation or permutation that could come across your desk. But when they did, we fixed it. We found it, we fixed it, we upgraded. There wasn't much to do in this job. This job just requires taking the same file and running it over and over and over with different people left on the file. This is not a complicated deal. This is not sending people into space. Although maybe I would consider the people who worked on this project as space cadets. And in reality, there's only one way to describe this error. This is a major fuck-up, and it should never, ever happen. They should have recognized almost immediately that something was wrong. The minute the numbers came out, they should have known. Then they shouldn't have made any announcements, because they look like jerks. And you know what's going to happen? People are going to question the final results now, Because when you make mistakes like this, your reputation is ruined. This is similar to the errors that are made in the stimulus packages, where people are getting money who shouldn't be getting money. People are getting money in the stimulus package that shouldn't be getting money because they didn't work, but because of their income from stocks and bonds or pensions or something like that is within the boundaries that they set up. To get money, you get money, but you don't deserve it. And this error is in that category. This is an error of sheer stupidity. You should be embarrassed to stand up in front of the world and say, we botched the mayoral election count. And it also indicates to me that the people who were running this thing were probably poorly trained. Because I don't think the people who practice this profession right now are used to getting into the nitty-gritty. I think the software has come to a point where it does a lot more work than it used to do when I was doing this type of work. And so you get careless and you don't understand the basic rules. And one of the basic rules is test data is not to be mixed in with real data. And now I wouldn't be surprised if some of the losers in this race are going to claim fraud. They're going to use the big lie theory to get around the fact that they were not voted for. How's that sound to you? The big lie in the mayoral election of 2021. And why do we have 12 candidates? Is that not ridiculous? So it hurts me to come down so hard on members of my chosen profession. But when I see this, it's a very aggravating situation. Because I know how simple this job really was and how easy it could have been. It just was pure sloppy. And I could use a lot of words that would make it even more terrible than that. Which managed this whole process. Clarified the screw-up in a tweet. Does that sound familiar to anybody? They said it determined that the ballot images used for testing were not cleared from the system. Well, that's pretty dumb. Needless to say, this screw-up by the Board of Elections has raised the issue in many candidates' mind about how inept the Board of Elections is. So as it stands right now, after 11 rounds of ranked voting, Eric Adams is leading Catherine Garcia by about 12,000 votes, with 124,000 some odd absentee ballots left to be counted. But I'm finished ranting about this thing. They're out there, and they walk among us, and you know who I'm talking about. So have a good day, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.